topic that has always been a mystery to me is the deep web, the invisible web, or the dark web, defined by good old Wikipedia as parts of the World Wide Web whose content are not indexed by standard search engines for any reason. When I thought of the deep web with no prior knowledge, a mixture of these kind of things come to mind for me.
There is only one key to open the device.
But after researching what the deep web really is, I realized that average people like me have really no idea about the vast ocean of the unknown. I had a lot of unanswered questions before delving into this topic and still do, but here are the first 9 questions because frankly I was too creeped out to do 10 that I asked when exploring the deep web. When did the deep web originate? While unindexed web content has existed as long as the internet has, it was first really brought to public attention in 1994 when this unindexed content was coined as the invisible web. 2 years later, the first deep web browser called Personal Library Software, or PLS, debuted. How can I access it? You'll notice that I don't go into extreme detail on how to access the deep web because I honestly don't want you trying to do it. But giving up only the basics, the best starting point is by downloading a special browser, the most well-known being the Onion router, aka Tor, 12p, and Freenet. Downloading one of these will give you the capability to access hidden databases in the deep web while still remaining anonymous. How big is it? The average internet user only accesses 1% of all information on the web. It's 500 times larger than the internet we use on a daily basis, but much of the databases are so secretive, it's really hard to find an exact number. Some estimates say that there are 550 billion individual documents and 7,500 terabytes of data within the deep web. Who accesses it? There's a large array of people who use the deep web, both good guys and bad guys. This list includes journalists, whistleblowers, military and police officials, and also, on the flip side, illegal drug traffickers, financial hackers, and terrorists. But unfortunately, the largest population on the deep web is a community of pedophiles, with 80% of information on the dark web being child abuse material. What kind of things are on there? The biggest percentage of things sold across the site when it comes to drugs is pot, but other hard drugs are certainly part of the mix. Transactions are mainly made via the internet currency Bitcoin. Almost anything you can think of is for sale on the deep web, from guns to knives to hitmen to some really disgusting things. It's also a breeding ground for malware controlling servers and terrorist networks. There's also an immense amount, as I said before, of sick, perverted atrocities, but I really just don't want to get into specifics. Is it all bad? Of course, everything has an upside. A lot of website creators use the deep web for beta testing for their websites. Some people use it to remain anonymous as a privacy precaution, like when a military or police official is trying to protect their identity when communicating on state and privacy surveillance. While the site can also be used as a terrorist network, it also gives a way for people living under authoritarian leadership to communicate undetected, such as North Koreans. What is being done to stop illegal activity on the deep web? Internet Watch Foundation is one of the biggest organizations focused on shutting down online sexual abuse content. Police Task Force and the FBI has cybercrime divisions that work round the clock to stop the criminal operations within the deep web. Personally, I think that we should all cumulatively decide to get that To Catch a Predator show back on the air and have Chris Hansen take care of some of the madness too. Can the bad activity be stopped? Unfortunately, when one of these sites is shut down, another 20 just pop up in their place. A good example of this is the black market Silk Road, a site that trafficked an approximated $1.2 billion in transactions a year, which was shut down back in 2013. Should I try to go on it? After all of this, if you really want to go on it, I would say this. If you want it for privacy, that's the only reason I could really think of for the average person to search it. But the cons outweigh the privacy pros big time, in my opinion. The deep web is not illegal unless you live in a super highly authoritarian country, but any transaction or search on the deep web can make you susceptible to hackers, threats, scams, and viruses since the sites are not encrypted. And you might see some really scary, gross content. So I really don't think it's a risk worth taking. What scares you most about the deep web? Subscribe to the Penta.tech YouTube page and tell me what you think. For Penta.tech, I'm Carly Kovac.